Hey there, everybody. So, like Boz created a video earlier on kind of some some helpful ways in which to quickly gather emails for on a PC. I'm gonna do the same, but on a Mac. That's what I use, and I know I'm sure some of you use a Mac as well. And it actually is a little different. Some of the controls are different, the shortcuts are different, um, and also just sometimes the formatting when you copy and paste stuff in is different. So I'll give you a little how-to for a Mac here. I'm using a software to do this recording that I've never done before, so if I, mess up and don't know what I'm doing, I'm sorry. I'm trying my hardest here. But so when we're going out, you'll have already probably, Google search like a list of all the high schools and colleges in your state. And so I'm going to use, like Boz did, I'm going to use Minnesota. And so for high school, I'll do Minnetonka. That's on my list of high schools in Minnesota. So I'm just going to search on Google here. I'm going to search for, Minnetonka high school directory. And, first link right there, staff directory. I'll click on that, and here we have, 25 list of teachers from K through 12, other staff within the school district. And if you keep clicking down here, just, it keeps going on. And you can get, a couple thousand emails pretty quickly here. So one thing we'll want to do is we'll want to, copy. Oops, sorry. We want to copy these emails. So the best way to do that would be just to click right above it, or around the names there, and just kind of hold it and drag all the way down. And then we're going to do a Command C. And that's how you copy on a Mac. And we're going to come over here to our Excel. This is just that basic template I sent out to you. We'll throw it on a new page, and we'll do Command V. As you know, if you watched Boz's video, so it formats it a little differently when you paste it into an Excel on Mac versus how it looked on a PC. One way to edit it, if it doesn't come out the way you want it to look, here we have the name in one box, and below it you have it. There's the title, the phone number, and the email address. And so here what we can do is somewhere, if you click on what you just pasted, if you look down here, there is this clipboard and it says Paste Options. So we're going to click that and use Text Import Wizard. And so this can be used if it didn't, mine copied in fairly nicely where each thing is in its own box. But so this is what it could look like, because mine is if it copies in like this, where it just does grade 1 teacher, phone number, and the email all in this one box. It's kind of messy, and you'd have to go through each one, and I'd have to delete this and go on to the next one, and delete this section and keep moving on. So what that paste option, that formatting does, if I can get back to it, so if I paste and I go to this and I use that Text Import Wizard, what this formatting does, you want to do if it does show up in the wrong format, you want to do delimited. You click next, and then if none of these are clicked, it'll show up. This is how it would show up with all of it in a row. So all this would be in one box, and so you can do different limits to make those turn out nicely. So we have, you can do it by tab, you can do it by space. It just depends on what you're looking for. In the best case, the space shows up where it doesn't have the phone number and email in separate boxes, so we actually want to switch it and make sure it's by tab, and then just hit finish. And so here we have each one in a separate box. Now just some quick tips to kind of clean this up. If you want to delete, say we want to delete these rows here just because that's some heading stuff we don't need, you can just click on the numbers on the left, drag and highlight them, and then do a Control minus, and that'll quickly delete them. Other things you can do, so click on this column, and we're also going to do Control minus. We don't need the phone numbers. After having deleted the phone numbers that we don't need, that top spacing, we still have the emails here, and there's spaces in between them, and also the names are on different lines. And so the names, while it's a nice touch, if it takes more time to get them, it's not as important. And for us in this case, if you look, I would have to go through and cut each one of these with Command X and then paste it up here in order to get it name and then the information. And so in this case, if you have the couple thousand emails, if you went through and you clicked through all of these and copied them all over first, and you have a couple thousand emails, that's going to take a long time to do if you went one by one. But instead, what we'll just look for is, the email and the title, since they're on the same line, we'll take those two and say we don't need the names. So a quick way to get this, if you do Command A a couple times, highlights everything, you go to Home, Conditional Formatting, highlight Cells, Rules, Text that contains. And for this, there's going to be a couple options to get what we want. I'll show you this one because all of the names are last name, comma, first name. If we type in a comma for the text that contains a comma, it's a light red fill with a dark red text, and hit OK. And then we're going to go to Data, Sort. And what that does is it sorts out all of the names and then all of the titles and emails. And so if we want to, we can go through and just highlight these and Control minus, get them out of the way. So now we're almost there. We're very close to having it kind of in a format that we can have uniform across the board and put it in this template. But we want email then title, not title then email. So what we can do is if you just click on column B, do Command X for cutting, and click on column A. And then what you can do to insert it really quickly is do the Control button and then I. And what this does is it inserts that column. Then we're going to take it and we're going to highlight. And we can just copy it over to this first sheet and paste it. And so now we have the emails. And if you did this for all of Minnetonka, you'd have a couple thousand emails here. You have all the titles. The school organization will type in Minnetonka High School. Double click on the bottom right and it auto populates all the way down. The letter writers can decide all right, we're going to target all of the educational professionals in Minnesota with this type of email. And so we can kind of customize it based on their title and their kind of organization, if they're a business or if they're a school. So that's really quick to do it that way. And then now if we want to go on and try and do, say, the colleges, we're looking ideally for, obviously the faculty of some of the departments, as well as we really want to get all the football staff and the coaches, for the head coaches at least, for all the colleges. So one thing we could do is if I open up a new tab here. So I'm looking for, let's try St. Thomas. That was on my list of all the colleges and universities in Minnesota. So I'll do, St. Thomas University. We could try faculty directory and see what comes up. So we've got the top one there. So what this opened up, this is their entire, college directory for St. Thomas. But the thing is I have to click on each one and individually go in and, highlight, copy the email over, and that's time consuming. And we're not looking for, if it takes too long to gather just one email, you could, copy this over, and we in this case wouldn't ask for the name or anything like that. But, there should be a quicker way to do this so we can get a mass amount of emails. So let's try and going to their departments and see if we can find all departments at one department and just get all the department's staff at one time. So if we scroll down, let's try the business college. We're going to go to their website, and there should be somewhere on here a faculty list. We'll go faculty and research. There it is, faculty A to Z directory. Click that. And so that brings up nicely, all the faculty in the business department, their emails. And so if we scroll down to the bottom, that's quite a bit, and we'll just take it all and hold and highlight. It's going to take a little time. There are a lot of emails. There we go. And we're just going to do Command C. We're going to copy it over to, I just added a new sheet down here on the bottom from the previous ones, on the template one. And we're going to just do Command V again. And so this, again, it's going to look different when you copy and paste from the same website if you're copy and pasting into Excel on a PC versus a Mac. So in this case, we see that each line is kind of a different piece of information. And all we really want in this case is going to be, all we really want is this email. Because that's going to be the best way we can sort it. So what we can do is just click column A. Again, we're going to go back up to that conditionally formatting, highlight cell, rule, text that contains. Last time I showed you how to do it with a comma and get the names out to delete them. But in this case, we're going to type in an @ symbol. And this is what Boz is doing for the ones in his example. You can use the formatting rule in different ways. You can use it to delete stuff. You can use it to get the stuff you want. It all just depends on what your ultimate goal is. So in this case, I'll use the @ symbol, light red fill with dark red text, hit OK. And so there it went through and it highlighted all of my emails for those professors. And so now with column A still selected, we're going to go to data and we're going to sort and custom sort it. So we have column A, we want the cell color on top, and then we want the red. And then we're going to hit OK. And there it puts all of our emails on top and then all that information we don't really care about underneath. And so we can just click and hit shift, and then remember it's function and then the down arrow key, and that kind of jumps us by page. And so then we can quickly highlight these emails, especially if you went through and we had thousands there. It's a lot easier to jump by page than it is to sit there and wait for it to scroll down. So we will copy these over, go back to our first sheet where the template is, and we can paste them in. And so here, since we didn't copy over those individual titles like we were able to on the last one, you can simply write like professor. And then under school organization, we'll write St. Thomas. And if you just highlight these and double click, it auto-populates it down. And so there we go. Now we can target, St. Thomas. So if our letter writers come up with something to do, for the MIAC schools possibly, and say, as a fellow professor in the MIAC school, and we can target them individually in that way, just so although we are, spamming and sending out, we're hoping to shoot for, 1 million plus emails on this distribution list total from everyone. Although we are sending out massive amounts of emails, we want to try and at least target different areas or different types of professions and stuff, so that if they do take the time to read the email, then they'll think it's not just a complete mass spam to everyone. It's more individualized towards them or towards their profession. So the goal we foresee is that you'll get high school staff, you'll get college staff, and then we want to shoot for all of the high school and college football coaches, because John, being a football coach, we think that his book will really speak to them. I mean, it'll speak to everyone, but it'll strongly speak to them. So let's try and just go back to Google here, and we'll look for the St. Thomas football coaches. So I'll just type that in. And so right on the top there, we'll click on the link. And so this comes up a little, it comes up kind of nicely. It's got the emails there. We don't have to individually go and get each one. It doesn't have every staff member's email, and so that's all right. We'll just take the ones that do have the emails present. So there's 5 of them there. Highlight those, and we'll copy them over. I'll add a new sheet here and paste them. And again, what we can do is we can go to Home, Conditional Formatting, Text that contains, and we're going to do the @ symbol, and then we're going to go to Data, Sort, and we're going to go by cell color. We want the red one, and so there are the emails. We only got 5 emails going after the football coaches, but we think that if you think about going where you can get hundreds of K through 12 high school staff members, and then maybe the same time it takes you to get a couple football staffing coaching staff teams for colleges, the football staff is going to be more likely to have an interest in our book, and in that sense they might be better emails to gather. And so that's why we want to get all of the football coaches and their staff, if possible, in the nation. We also, I think this book will apply to just coaches in general, not just football coaches. And so we also want to look for trying to get other athletic teams, their staff, their coaches for both high school and college, as well as athletic directors and anyone who could really benefit from this. And so there we have, I just copied over those football coach emails, and then I'll just type in, football coach and St. Thomas, and then we'll just auto-populate it down. And so those are just some tricks on how to gather these emails quickly. I gathered over 140 emails in probably 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever this video ends up being. But I was taking time to go through and show that stuff to you. So if you're working on this diligently, hoping for once everyone gets into the swing of things, we're hoping for around 300 emails an hour. Some emails like the high school emails, since you can get so many of those, or the district, the K through 12 for Minnetonka, since you can get a couple thousand relatively quickly, those emails are a lot easier to gather than the St. Thomas football team. It took me probably the same amount of time to get the 5 emails for the St. Thomas football staff as it did for a bunch of those Minnetonka high school. So we hope you average out to be around 300 emails an hour. If you're having issues with gathering these emails, if it's taking you a lot longer to gather emails, definitely let Boz or I know. We're open. Just come and talk to us. Send us an email. I'll be sending out a message about this later, but I've invited you all to join Slack. It's like a messaging forum thing for businesses. We had a couple of our students bring this up to us as a good idea. So Abby, Ben, all those other, Taylor, Libby, all of you that have signed up already, that's fantastic. Thank you for doing that. I hope the rest of you will sign up. But what this does is it lets us have admin and finance can have their section to talk about stuff, and Boz and I can be involved in each of these, just so your inbox aren't getting overfilled with stuff and you don't have to always check Facebook, because this does have an app on Android and iOS as well as the Mac, and so we'll be using that to communicate with you guys going forward. And so, just shoot us a direct message on here saying hey Boz, hey Scott, I'm struggling with collecting some of these emails. Can you maybe go over some of these methods that you guys have for using Excel efficiently and some of the shortcuts? Like I mentioned earlier, we want to try and skip emails that when it was like that St. Thomas one where I had to click into each one individually to get the email. That was just going to take time. We want to try and go for as much bulk as we can. And then ideally as a team, our goal is to hit for about 1 million to 1.5 million emails this summer. And so if we have 5% of the people we email buy a book, that's 50 to 75,000 books purchased already. And that's not including them telling their friends and family about it. That's not including where we get marketing from different resources. Really, this will be a huge help if you guys can really just, get at your grunt work and really tackle it hard each week and shoot for a ton of emails and just try and help us create this massive distribution list as possible. One thing that I'll send out today when I send out this video is that there's a link I'll send out, and it's a 222 Excel keyboard shortcuts for PC and Mac. So this benefits everyone, but it's really helpful. It's got, it tells you some of the things I talked about, like the Control I for inserting a column, or some of those, the Control minus for deleting. They're all on here. Some of these symbols, like this little 4 circle thing, that's Command. You have other ones like this little up arrow, that's going to be Control. This is Alt, I believe, this little slash thing. And so this is a very helpful website in terms of helping you learn those Excel shortcuts so that you can modify those lists very efficiently and quickly and get as many emails as possible. Thanks for watching, or listening, I guess. And let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day. Bye.